It
They
says
can
it's
see us.
unstable.
They should be able to hear. It always says unstable because I think my internet's too fast.
So it matches us, unstable.
It matches my mental health perfectly. Like,
Monster, 7 a.m. Mountain Dew, 7 a.m. Monster Mountain Dew.
can't
Sponsor
actually
us. We
do
gotta
this.
get back to that.
Can't actually do this on the thing. There's rules against this. I have to technically be to the side.
Well, while he does things that have to be done off screen, hello everyone. To everybody who celebrates it, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and to everybody else, Happy Hump Day.
I
I
don't
can't
even know
scream
when
because
Kwanzaa
people's
is this year because it doesn't say it in my calendar this year.
Google Kwanzaa 2024. It starts tomorrow.
Okay, happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Happy Kwanzaa
Kwanzaa
Eve.
Eve. Happy winter solstice. I'm dying.
Well, everybody who is joining us who's trying to avoid their families today.
They're not even there yet. Like, this hasn't even gotten to the void families part. People are fucking
No,
asleep. If people are up right
no,
now, they got issues.
there are people like us who have issues, Godwin. So hopefully we get somebody in the chat, but welcome. This is DisasterCast, the D&D podcast where we sometimes talk about D&D.
We probably will today
Uh,
because this is our last. Probably this is our definitely our last disaster cast of the year, unless
yes.
we magically get one in before then, which I don't think is possible based on our schedules.
Yeah, next week's going to be busy, but I
Sorry, you guys get
am
my mic for
one
right now, so it's closer to me.
I am one of the co-founders here. I am the DM, Disaster Master, Brian Creevy. Uh, and I am joining our other co-host this morning, who's off screen.
I'm now on screenish. I can set that to the side for a second.
That
Hi, I'm
was a
Conlan
vape,
Rose.
right?
It was something. Um, you just can't inhale on screen. You can exhale all you want. That's what the rules actually say.
That's crazy.
I only know this because Try Guys looked it up because they wanted to do a podcast where they smoked. And they went, so what are the actual limits of the rules? So they talked to their partners on Twitch, their partner, because they're partners, they're such a big channel. They went,
Yeah.
hey, what will actually make you angry? And they went this, and went, okay, cool, we won't do that.
The try. How are the Try Guys doing? I feel like they've had a rough couple of years.
Since Ned left, they're doing okay, but they've like completely redone their formula, and it's not bad. They've been doing less things that I'm into, which
Yeah.
is okay. They're doing great though. Like I still watch the Without a Recipe because that's still a very funny show they do. Uh,
Are you saying that you liked Ned's content the most once Ned left? It was just like,
no,
ah, the
I watch them a
direction's
lot.
weird.
It's the core four, and then when it became the core three, that's what I think that where the magic is.
Mhm.
And not that the new cast members they've brought in aren't great because they really are. A lot of them are very, very, very funny. But it's not the same dynamic. It's now a cast show, which is okay, but it's not what
It
I want
so
to
it,
watch.
it basically followed the formula that Smosh did.
Yeah, yeah. Which bringing on a cast is a good idea. That's how you make more content.
Mm-hmm. Smosh,
Why do you think
honestly,
we
it's crazy
have a
seeing.
cast? If it was just me and
Mhm.
you, we would have burnt out like 2 years ago.
We would have just been doing a podcast the whole time and just like, all right,
Actually, no, what's the
life's
worst part
worse,
is if
guys.
we just did a once a week podcast that was just bullshit. Watch it because we're just two white guys and everyone likes listening to two white guys' opinions for some fucking reason. Not that our opinions are invalid, because I actually personally think me and yours opinions are more valid than others people's, which is such a white privilege thing to say. But we also have
Mm-hmm.
we're also both try our best to be very good allies to all groups of people. So the reason why I feel either of our opinions are more valid than other people. We work very hard to the
So
detriment of our own lives.
I have a little bit more like white guilt now, even though I've done nothing wrong in my probably done some things wrong, but not like anything horrible, terrible wrong in my lifetime. Um, my sister did Ancestry.com, and we've been following the family tree. And on my mother's father's side, so the asshole who left, on my mother's father's side, so my grandfather's side, he had several descendants who were Confederates. And it's funny because on Ancestry.com, they don't put an image of, like, normally they put like a picture if they have it, or a blank photo. If they don't have a picture and you're Confederate, they put the Confederate flag up. So it's just like,
Nice.
they're like, we want people to know you were a Confederate.
Yeah, we're gonna shame your ass.
So, knowing that fact, I'm just like, "Oh god, do I have to make up for more misdeeds of the white people who came before me?"
I'm so lucky that a large portion of my family came to this country post the not post civil rights, but post slavery. That I'm like, this is not a problem. My family really like. Are there parts of my family who were here before then? Yeah, but they lived in upstate fucking New York and were poor, and they
They
married
were
into
just making it.
like Native Americans. So like, but that's me. I'm very unique if you look at my ancestry, where it's like, oh wow, you guys. The most issues and worries some of your family lived in countries that weren't exactly the best at times. That's the worst
Mhm.
I got going on. But you know,
Thankfully for me, it's only on the part of my family tree with the asshole grandfather who left my grandmother.
yeah. So like,
So,
so fuck them.
oh, and it's funny enough, my mom has found out that she has 3 half sisters because of him, that she didn't know she had.
That's hilarious. Has she tried to reach out to any of them?
My sister and my mom have been so weird about it because they're like, "We wanna see if they," because when you're on Ancestry.com and you get a new match, it gives you a notification, so my sister's been just like, "Should we see if they reach out first?" They've been kind of being, like, coy, like, deciding whether they
But
wanna reach out or wait for them. And then, literally the other day, so at first they discovered 2 half sisters, then literally, like, on my sister's birthday the other day, um, she got a notification. It said, "You have a new family member," or whatever they
a
say,
new
a
match
new
or whatever it is. Yeah.
new match, and it was somebody who just joined Ancestry.com that day and got it on the family tree. So, like, holy shit, we knew he had a family when he left, but dear God, these people are also half sisters of each other, so they're all separate people.
Yeah.
They're
Dude seems like he
he
was sleeping around. Good for him for getting all that action. Bad for him being a piece of shit.
literally, it seems like he lived his life by finding a woman, getting very close, if not marrying, just very close, having a kid with them, and then just leaving and finding another woman, and
No,
then
they got
having a kid
pregnant and
with
he
her.
went, I'm out. I'm not into pregnant
Like
bitches.
like, what a piece of shit. Like, I don't even wanna say RIP because fuck him.
Like, it's one of those things, it's very funny. It's one of those things where I see on Twitter, because I stay on Twitter purely because there's a handful of, not because of the war in Ukraine, there's lots of Ukrainians who are still on Twitter because Bluesky doesn't work properly for them because it's a very new app.
Yeah,
So it's like not surprising. So a lot of the fundraisers are still on Twitter. So I still am on there helping promote those fundraisers and help get them some kind of extra spread to fight against the shitty algorithm that purposely derates them
yeah.
and fighting disinformation. But because of I'm on Twitter still, it means I still see a lot of the shit that's going down and the crazy right wingers and all that shit. So sometimes it's like there'll be the person who's like, I don't understand who women look like women who look like this, and I'm like, do you just not like women? Because every time I see those posts, it's always a woman who's incredible, like to me at least, even if they're like a little more heavy set, or even sometimes it's just like a normal progression of how humans are. We as people will get old and flabby and gross. I'm sorry, we all will. It's inevitable. Like even though me and you admittedly have very good dad genes, so we might get lucky. That the only thing that fucks us is that unlike both our dads who work out every day, if we just do that, we'll probably mint. We're just too poor right now to do it.
I bought myself a mat so I can try to do push-ups and sit-ups and stuff at home and not on the dirty cat litter infested floor because 4 cats.
Yeah, no.
So I can probably my goal is to start doing that when I do come down here and play video games or write or stream or anything in the new year. I want to be able to do push-ups and sit-ups beforehand. That way, it's kind of like a reward system. Like, hey, I exercised. I can do the thing I want now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but both of our dads are like the people who are like they never got flabby and old. Like they're getting old. But I don't think our
Yeah,
dads would be
you
considered
you know
flabby
what's
by any means.
it's very sad. My dad. So we went to a friend's family party for their daughter who just turned sweet 16, and it was at like a fancy-ish restaurant. Um, the one over in East Haven by like the point, like the lighthouse point.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't
And
think I've
it
ever
was the
been
one
there,
right.
but I know what you're talking
It
about.
was it's the one right past the one where we went to senior night, Conlan,
Yeah, I know.
and
I know what
that.
one you're talking
Well,
about.
no,
I've
no,
just never been there.
it's. I know. I'm just saying this is part of the story. Like knowing that fact to make it funny.
Okay.
Um, the outfit that I wore at that place on senior night, my dad wore to this party where
No
she was
way! I can
16,
get a
and
picture of that way faster than I should be able to.
He fits.
Of course he did. Your dad's
I
skinny as fuck.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious. It's like 11 years later, and he's wearing the same thing that I wore to senior night.
Even the tie?
I don't know about the tie. It was just that blue shirt that I was wearing because once I do, it's weird. I got hand-me-downs, but then when I got to a certain age, and suddenly I'm doing hand-me-ups to my dad.
Well, no, your dad's just cheap is the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't want to buy new clothes, and he's like, "Well, I fit into them, so just give them to me."
Yeah, no, it's because your dad's cheap. It's a different. When was senior night?
2013.
I know what year. I need what month. Very aware
Probably
what
May.
year it was.
Probably May or early June because I believe we weren't out of school yet. We were like, hey, it was
God,
approaching.
these are all fucking throwback photos. Every one of these. We look so young.
We were. You had defined cheekbones.
I still have pretty defined cheekbones. You can still see them
It's
fine.
just your beard kind of hides
No,
it.
my beard hides them. Makes me look less like a serial killer. Which I'll take. Oh yeah, here's me doing the trade. This is me doing a differential flush, axle flushes, and all that right before going to senior night. And Mark redid his transmission fluid for the first time ever before senior night. We're like, man, let's do some major maintenance, and in 2 hours, we need to go drive to fucking the other side of the state.
What a great time to try that. And you were people's rides. I think, weren't you my ride to senior night?
I was your Anna's, and was Joe with us?
Joe was with us, yes.
Joe went to the park because he left with Mark, but he came with us. Mark might have brought you, and then you left with me.
Mark did bring me to something. That might have been that, but I'm pretty sure I left with you.
No, you did. Well, we all left together. That time we left as a
Mhm.
group because when we drove in, we both all saw the carnival, and we went, we have to go to the carnival. Like,
There's a carnival,
like,
guys.
what opportunity do we get now that we're about to be? I was an adult at that point because I was 18, but like, and you were about to turn 18. We're all about to turn 18.
Mhm.
Joe was already old.
But it was just hilarious. And also back then, carnivals were cheap enough that high schoolers could go to them.
Well, more importantly, carnivals back then, getting in was free. You had to buy tickets for the ride, so you could wander and like buy
Mhm.
food. You just couldn't get on rides unless you had tickets for the rides because they didn't have an admission price. They had a buy tickets for the ride price or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That same carnival no longer does it that way. You have to pay to get in and pay for tickets for the ride. They gotta
It's
make money. I don't
ridiculous.
blame them.
Do they do one at the mall here
Yeah,
anymore?
they still do it every year.
What year? Oh, what time?
I don't remember.
Isn't that like July?
It's like July. It's middle of the summer.
Okay. Hey, it says 2 people viewing now.
I don't have it on any computer, so it
I
might
don't
actually be real
either.
people.
Hello, Conlan. Why don't we take this opportunity for you to finish your intro because we interrupted it?
Oh, we did? Oh. I'm
Yeah.
Conlan Rose. I play Rain, Bracket, Gregory, and Altuk in
Mhm.
all of our 4 campaigns we've had so far. And
That
in a
was
campaign
very impressive, Conlan.
you may one day see, I will play Minerva. But I don't know if you're ever actually going to see that campaign. That's a conversation that I haven't spent the time as me, the guy who's supposed to run it, to do that as our like intermediate in between sessions fun
Mhm.
bullshit campaign where we're like, no cares.
Yeah.
This is not canon to anything ever.
And if we did that, would you be playing her in the game, or are you saying like
If I was the
what's your
NPC,
idea?
so I would not be playing her actively, but she is the person giving out these quests because
Gotcha.
she is so. I can give the lowdown because I've used
So
this
it's like one of
concept.
those it's like one of those cartoon TV shows where hey, the characters go to this one person and get their assignment for the day and then they go do it and then that's like the session.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not gonna be every session. We'll have continuations and stuff, but that is the goal. Is I'll give you the
She
lowdown.
she's
Is
a plot device.
yeah, she's a plot device. She is written in the Conlan Brain universe. We're going to call it that. In the Conlan Brain universe of the continuation of Ty'Quorus, as if we beat the big bad and we all get to have happy lives afterwards. We haven't gotten there yet in the campaign, so we don't know what happens. And we don't even know what happens, character interactions and shit like that, or how the world will change. But it's essentially, this is Rain's daughter. And Rain's daughter kind of got herself fucked over by being nice. She Oliver, as we know, our displacement magic wizard. Eventually, in my little brain canon, which I still think is realistic canon if he survives, starts a school for displacement magic because using it to save the world legitimizes his illegal magic, allowing him to actually teach useful people the magic. So Minerva goes out to help these friends of friends, essentially, go to the woods because they just need someone who has experience hunting and survival and stuff like that. So that way they don't die from wolves attacking them or some shit. So she goes out with them because they're trying to do a spell they're not ready for. They have the components.
Way beyond their level.
Yeah, they have the components. They have the book, but they should not be doing this shit. And they try to. It doesn't go well. They can't make a stable portal, and it blows up and essentially sucks them all in. And unfortunately for them, they just drop into the world, which is the world we'll be playing in. And one of the guys actually tries to run. He gets cut in half by the portal because portal only has so much range. So only part of him makes it through, which is horrible. And then they kind of
That's Conlan's fucked up brain right there, needing to have like, hey, this is reality. This
yeah.
could happen.
Also, that was really something that would happen in D&D if D&D were real. Is you run away from an area effect that's like that? I'm sorry, parts of you gonna make it, parts of you ain't. But essentially, they're stuck in that world. That other person dies very quickly because they end up in the middle of the woods, like middle of nowhere. She's a druid, druid ranger, maybe. I don't remember what she is.
Didn't
Not
you
important.
play her on the guys' night D&D session?
Yeah.
I killed her.
You did, but that was more because everything was fucked. We were nuking people so we could go to sleep.
Yeah, and all you
Kill me
guys
so
were
I can
just
go to
so
bed.
tired.
Oh man, we started way too late.
Yeah, you guys, we should have done it like we should have stayed there for an extra night so we could have done like one night,
And just
pause, and then
plowed through and then
continue it the
slept.
next
Yeah,
day.
yeah, absolutely. If we ever do another one of those things, that's what we're doing. We're doing like one extra day, even if it's an extra like 12 hours. That 12 hours is vital because that's our recoup sleep before we come home time.
Yeah. So in the what I want to call the Brainlan-verse, the brain of Conlan
I
verse.
got it. That's bad, but I like it.
The Brainlan-verse, there is one timeline where Minerva dies because we were tired.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She dies in that timeline. But that's one of the universes she got stuck in. The other universe she gets stuck in, which is the one I've written, which is when she essentially survives, and is that she is the plot device. She's trying to get back, but she is not a wizard.
Mhm.
She's like, I have no way to do this magic except for with components and finding like people. She has the book because the other wizard dies very shortly because they get attacked by wolves as they're trying to make it back into a town. She just wild shapes and fucking leaves because that's her only option. Like she's like,
Mhm.
you can't fight. They try and fight back quickly. The other guy that's overwhelmed almost pretty much immediately murdered because he's a normal level wizard. He's like a level 5 wizard. So a pack of wolves is
Pack tactics.
yeah done, bud.
Crit. Crit.
Crit,
Crit.
crit,
Crit.
crit, dead. And she's like, okay, turns into a wolf and leaves. Because she's like, I can't solve that. He's dead.
Mm-hmm. And probably being a ranger on top of a druid, you probably are able to move faster through the forest than like normal wolves and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
so she
she's
can
able
just-
to get away.
Yeah, I don't remember if she's a fighter or if she's a ranger. It's one of those two. But she, out of the way, wild shapes, and gets the fuck out
Do
of
you
there.
have the class in D&D Beyond?
Oh, she's a, Minerva is partially built in D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond.
Yeah, you can definitely find her in there. She definitely exists. I don't know how complete she is, because I didn't, oh, I'm not signed in. Why?
Hold on. Mine is signing in. Hold on.
It's doing that normal
Oh,
thing where it
wait.
signs us out once a year.
No, wait, it's not Google. Fuck, it's Twitch.
Yeah, it's via our Twitch. I'm signed into Twitch right now, so it should be pretty easy for me. And you're signed into Twitch right now. Oh, I have one already.
Oh god, didn't we change the password? Oh well. Hold
Is
on.
it-
Wait. Yep, nope, I can't get in. Oh well, we'll see. Hold on. We're gonna figure this out, guys. We're gonna figure this out. Our 2 viewers must be interested in Minerva. They must be.
We're both like, fuck, shit. Where's the iPad?
I got it. Wait. Shit, what the fuck? Why did it log me out everywhere?
Because it's a security thing. They'll log you out like once a year to make sure you log back in. Can you just let me into my iPad?
Oh, hold on. Mine's working. It's asking for the token.
Oh, that's good. We'll fix mine not on stream. Where the fuck's the D&D Beyond app?
I got it. We're logged into our own account. What great content this is.
That's really that means we have to probably sign. That explains the conversation I had with Brian.
I got
Gaines, 'cause I saw him Monday, I think, because he's up for seeing family for the holidays. Because there's like these 2 weeks, nothing's happening, so let's just take him off.
Yeah.
So they're seeing family. So like, hey, he's like, I would really like Jinrash's character sheet so I can play him in other campaigns. I'm like, oh shit, we need to get that for you.
Yeah. So you were wrong. So at least this version of Minerva, you could have changed things since, but the one you made in D&D Beyond was 7 druid, 5 cleric.
Oh, it's cleric. Yeah, MJ. Yeah, there's 2 versions of her. There's a level 12 and a level 9 version of her.
Oh god, a cat knocked one of my dice off the table. I don't know where that went.
The level 12 version of her is the one who's giving you things.
The level 12 version is the one that's in D&D Beyond, so.
They're both in D&D Beyond. There's also the level 9 version.
You gave her Distant and Harvest. I love it.
Oh no, she's pretty sick. It's a very good character.
Good intentions when you have all of them together is just disastrous.
That's the point. Is she's handed them off by Rain. It's actually she gets all of them in a weird way in the Conlan-verse.
The Brainlan-verse.
Yeah, in the Brainlan-verse is
it's gonna catch on.
I need to get rid of this very fucking white screen. That's the sign-in screen. It's blinding. In the Brainlan-verse, her teacher is Chiron as a druid. So her and her mom have a fallout. So she chooses to move back to the Grove and learn to become a druid.
Wow, Rain getting in an argument with her daughter, essentially the younger version of herself. That's wow.
Oh, it's even worse. It's Rain marries Bracket. So you have the kids who are the most smart, obnoxious, and headstrong people on the planet. You're fucked. What's great is if you guide them properly, they're going to be very successful. But if you fuck up small, it's going to be a mess. It's that family where you're like, oh, one of them's a CEO, the other one is a politician, and the other one dances in the woods. We all know that family.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody has one too. It may not be as weird as the next one, but everybody has one.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a fun little thing we'll play into, and we'll get more because I want to slowly build her. I want to tell the lore now. I want her to slowly reveal lore about her in the campaign because that's gonna be more fun.
It's actually it's cool because I'm rewatching the heist sessions, and it's kind of the excitement you had when you first came up with the concept of rain. I remember in like the last couple sessions of season 2 of the Misfit Warriors, as we have now dubbed it, even in one intro when we were joking about an all rogue campaign, you were telling about like this rogue character that you created that one day maybe you'll be able to play. 8 months later, you're playing her.
Yeah, I played her and it was amazing.
Yeah. You know, as long as the heist campaign took much longer than I was expecting. Hey, our stream balanced out. It says excellent now. Awesome. Okay.
It should. I have really good internet. I pay
As
$80
long
a
as-
month for 1 gig. It better fucking work.
Well, as long as the heist campaign took more than the 3 sessions that I predicted, it was like it was fun, the characters that we created, especially I'm really happy you got to play out Rain because you were so excited that week when you dreamt up Rain, and then
It was
even
at
when
a
we were
party,
playing,
remember?
yeah, and then you were probably crossfaded out of your mind that night.
Yeah, I had a weird ass fucking dream because I was fucked up.
Did you have the jug back then?
I didn't do the jug back then. I was never really. I just drink
No,
some Sprite.
no, your jug, like the I forgot what you called it, but it was just a cup.
It's just a cup.
It was just a giant cup of Malibu and Sprite that just slowly started becoming more Malibu. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even drink that much, but I've been low on weed and trying to ration it, so I had some for Christmas. So last night I was no longer stoned anymore at like 8, and I was like, oh, I wanted my vibe to last until I went to bed. Shit. So I made myself 2 mixed drinks. I was like, this wasn't the plan. The plan was to vibe until I go to sleep, and I didn't get to, really.
Does it hit you harder than it used to?
No. I still have to do way more
Sad
shots.
face.
I still have to do way more shots than a normal person has to do to get fucked up. I
know,
1 or 2 shots, me, 4. And I'm like, ooh, now I feel it. And then 5, I'm like, okay, now I'm fucked up. If I do under 5 shots, I won't get fucked up. Especially if it's saying like that's only like 35 to 40%. Not happening. Stronger stuff will fuck me up harder, but
that's why I typically choose like THC products and stuff like that, because those get me there. Alcohol, I'm still heavyweight. Remember when we discovered that on my 21st birthday?
Yeah, you essentially binge drink for like 2.5 hours, and you were eventually drunk, but it took way longer than it should have. Either your body just doesn't process alcohol properly, which is possible, I don't know, or I don't know.
And I started that night with 5 shots and 5 laps.
Yeah, well, that's the point of the laps, is as you run, it gets into your system, so you get dizzy. If I do 5 shots and 5 laps right now, I would struggle.
I was about to say, should we do it again?
At 30?
No, the 31, the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, you're right, we should. That's a good idea. That gives us time also to, like, plan and, like, find a place to do it.
To get ready.
Because that's a video. There's no reason not to try and live stream or video that. If I were making content.
The problem is we can't do it at the same location because it's an elementary school, and that would definitely be breaking some laws.
Yeah, we're 31-year-old men doing drugs at an elementary school. I think that's against the law. Some 21-year-old idiots doing it is fine.
We totally did not do.
We were 21. Who gives a shit? 21-year-old people are stupid. When you're
Conlan,
that young, you're dumb
when
as
you
rocks.
become a politician in your 40s, somebody's gonna pull this conversation up, and they were like, "Ah, he did the drugs."
And I'll be like, I'll be exactly like Gary Johnson. Remember the presidential candidate from 2016? Who
Kind of.
he's
Oh,
the guy. He was the guy who
Was
said,
he the
marijuana leads to extreme increased risks of heart attacks. And on the stage, he goes and drops to the ground as a joke. Fucking funniest bit ever.
Oh my god, did that make headlines?
That made headlines because that is one of the funniest things you could do. That's why I'll admit, in 2016, I voted for Gary Johnson because he was a riot. Also, he was the last real libertarian candidate until the Libertarian Party became Nazis. Because now the modern party is a bunch of Nazis, unfortunately. There's still libertarians who aren't, but the people who are in charge of the party are garbage people.
Nazis.
Yeah, especially definitely New Hampshire Libertarian Party definitely is. I don't know about every Libertarian Party across the whole United States.
Dude, even when
I
we
know
were
the New
up
Hampshire
in New
one is. I've
Hampshire
seen
a
his
lot
tweets.
more. Even when we were up in New Hampshire a lot more, like back when I was in college, you still saw trucks like flying around, driving around with like the
There's a
different
lot of
flags
white
and stuff.
supremacy going on in New Hampshire. I can speak. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Northeast, which is also true. There's a lot more white supremacy in the Northeast than I ever, when I was a kid, could have thought about it. Like, because I had visited the South a couple times when I was younger, and I saw how bad it was down there. And then as I've gotten older, I'm like, wait, it's just the people in the Northeast hide it better, and as soon as they feel they can trust you, they let it all the fuck out, and you go, oh, you're just much more closeted bigots.
Yeah. Like the amount of people who just
And now
have
they're all loud.
horrible opinions, even some in family.
Yeah,
It's
and some
just
of them
like,
are people who've been incredibly close to us in our lives.
mhm. And then that makes me realize, that's where that Confederate blood went. I had to. I had to.
That was easy.
That was a layup.
Yep, layup. Right down the middle. Gotta hit that pitch across into the deep.
So, let's talk a little D&D into like last session.
Okay.
So, it it was a I think you guys needed that session.
That
A
was fun.
combat session that wasn't, oh shit, everyone's dying,
Yeah, no. We needed a low stakes. And I know when our
but
characters are
also
much
kind
higher
of,
levels, there will be more fights that are, we are just henchmen trying to kill you, but we have no ability to actually do anything, and it's just me for
mhm,
fun. But recently we've had so many fights, even as the heist campaign, where we got the shit kicked out of us. And that's because when you are level like 5 to like 11, you're way weaker than you think you are.
yeah, you hit that level 5 mark and you're like, yeah, I can take on the world, and then the world appears.
Well, it's because you
It's like
have decent
it,
HP, but the problem is you can't deal enough damage. So, like, one bad roll, and that turn being useless is you fucked.
mhm. And you start battling things with actual armor class instead of like 10 to 13. Uh,
I don't know what this
and
problem is when I play Rain. I just hit it.
I, I feel like level 1 to level 20 is a lot like how they describe growing up in the real world. Level 1 to 4 is age 0 to 18. That's a trial period. That's like introducing you to everything.
There's a whole bunch of
You
guardrails that you don't even notice.
sprinkles of, yes, guardrails. There's some sprinkles of pain and destruction, but it like builds up your character.
Unless you're
Then
really
level
stupid and go off the trail, you're not gonna get fucked.
And then 5 to 12 at that point is when you turn 18, and it's like, oh shit, the free trial is over. This is like the real world now. And then after that, level 12 to 20. That's hopefully once you hit your 30s, we'll figure that out.
Sometime in
And
your
then you
30s.
just,
It seems to a lot of people that sometime in their 30s things click in some ways. It's unfortunate. Hey, we're not 30 yet, so there's that. We're both still 29. So we can't, like, wine and
We're holding on to our 20s, Conlan.
Mine's going fast. It's 3 months away. Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
3 months,
I
2
just
days.
turned. Me and my sister's birthday is exactly 6 months apart, so I just turned 29 and a half the other day.
Yeah, I know. It's rough.
Oh,
So yeah, we did need that session. It was very fun. It was good to. Also, everyone was rolling well.
except Vicky in the beginning with Vane. Vane
Yeah,
got that.
Vane got
Vane got
fucked up.
that double not nat one on a advantage perception roll.
I know.
Like that was so bad. That was so bad.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was bad.
immediately got struck by lightning from the only person who actually got hit by that lightning attack right after Callum was joking about it hitting Vane, and he was like, "No, the worst."
I did this. Fuck.
I literally had a randomized chart for the direction of the playing field that the lightning would strike down on, just to make sure it like completely stayed random.
That's not what I asked you to do. I'm now accidentally. We're not gonna get into it just yet because I want not near the end, but at some point do my. I've switched to iPhone and I'm gonna bitch about both of them, the Android and iPhone, hard. But we're not there yet.
And then there'll be
D&D.
a separate video at some point because
Oh,
everybody
there's gonna
loves
be a
those
review
videos.
one day. I'm gonna actually write a review because what the fuck, everyone? How is everything so dog shit? Okay, but oh yeah, no, it was fun. Bracket getting to actually get swings in and kill things. Though I didn't have a lot of spells left, so I couldn't smite shit like I wanted to.
But that got you to use your Awesomer ability that you haven't
Oh
used
no, that was
before.
so fun. I was so happy. I want the fact they made me giant. I'm so upset that the obscure ran away so quickly. I wanted to smoosh them. I was gonna go stop,
Well,
stop.
now you and Andrew have a combo move. You need to like have like something you call out to Oliver when you need it.
Joe man.
Big stupid angel.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see in an anime where you've been watching the anime a really long time, and then there's this giant form of a character happens. You're like, what? It's like in Dragon Ball where you haven't seen Super
Ooh,
Saiyan yet, and then you see it.
stupid big angel. That should be the call out, Dave.
He's average intelligence angel.
Oh my god. Dude, but that was crazy, and you'd be rolling a lot of die if you get good hits. Like if you hit a nat 20, and let's say you get your 90 to 100
Oh yeah.
3d4 for that, plus the d4 being enlarged, plus you can throw a divine smite at your max level in there. You can just be like, make it rain.
Oh, that's the point of a paladin. Is a paladin either can do normal, pretty decent damage, but then when they go, hey, all the cards are aligned, and I got a a nat 20, so I critted. Shit's happening.
the the
I'm
the
sending a body across the map.
One of the things I hope they didn't change in the 2024 D&D core like players handbook is the fact that paladins can choose to do a divine smite after they know they hit. That way you
Yeah,
can just hold them for the nat 20s and be like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
it's why I think that should be done with paladins. If not, you're wasting the fucking character. It'd be stupid to. I think that mechanic's been around a while though, so
Yeah.
I don't think they would change that. I don't know. I haven't read the new rules yet. Will probably only play in 5e's rules.
Yeah, the new rules are 50 fucking bucks, and I just can't put that towards a book that I'm not gonna be basing my D&D games off of, right? Until I can do that. I want to read it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Because apparently there are some cool things. Remember, I put into the chat, Conlin, Cure Wounds is now a base 2d8 at level 1.
Oh yeah, there was well, the point of the 2024 rules was supposed to be improvements from 5e, which is taking 5e and taking things where we didn't do it right, or maybe we could have done it better, and making improvements and betterments. And even the biggest problem with is there also are some nerfs in there where they nerfed some abilities that were way OP and broken because of game mechanics, and then because of new modules got even more broken because of stacking shit, and they went, okay, yeah,
Yep.
we have to just that because someone should be able to accidentally do 100 damage.
And then all the D&D players were like, "Why? Come on."
But I want my rogue to do 100 damage when they're only level 12. They just shot an arrow and stood still, and then they casted this.
Oh my god, steady aim is such a great thing.
Steady aim's broken. If you
don't move and you give yourself advantage. Cool, so I'm giving myself sneak attack every time.
Oh yeah, Minerva has steady aim even though she's not a rogue.
It's
mom taught
broken.
Her mom taught her steady aim. So that way anytime she's using a weapon, using a ranged weapon, she uses steady aim and just gives herself advantage.
Even with a ranger, or even with the ranger and cleric subclass, that is still even a good ability there.
Well, she also in the Conlan the
Brainlan-verse.
Brainlan-verse. It'll take me some time to. That's mainly because it's a new word. The Brainlan-verse. Firearm, because we've already introduced firearms to one of the major artificers in the area.
We got guns.
So firearms are prevalent by the time Minerva's born in like 30 years or whatever that amount of time. Like 10 years plus then whatever age Minerva is. She's like 30 in where I wrote her for. So firearms
probably about like another 35 years in the future or something.
Yeah, between 30 and 50 years. I don't remember. But firearms are prevalent. The guard, though there are still paladins with armor and stuff like that, they have sidearms as well. Like, they not only have a sword, the sword is because paladins are armor tanks, and now their armor is actually heavier and thicker, because their job is to take rounds even, and take shrapnel hits from artillery, and walk in and go, we just killed the artillery by walking and advancing indefinitely. We are wall, we will take you. Because that's essentially the tactics they use for paladins, and the rangers are now almost all firearms experts.
I love that once you started looking further into Paladin's class, you're like, oh, once you hit level 6, you can just become broken.
No, Paladins are one of the most broken classes, which is their point. A Paladin is...
They're broken not by themselves, but in a group.
Yeah, if you get a dozen Paladins and they all link arms and walk at something, that something will probably die. Because they'll just go... It's like those MMO those gacha games and shit that you play where you send all your little guys to go attack the thing. Paladins are the guys, they all just walk together and go, it's dead. Why didn't they die? They just have infinite armor.
They have Shield Master and Aura of Protection, so they always succeed and they take no damage.
They just go thud, thud, thud. And actually, it's 2 thuds because they have 2 hits, and they can put smites into it.
Oh my god! Every once in a while, you see a glow.
Yeah. It's exactly like those games where you have all those little guys just smacking at the enemy. Once,
God, I had to just cycle through his names to figure out what his current name is. Once Yamakasi gets to Paladin level 6, him and Bracket are gonna have a fun time.
Well, we've already learned that we're beginning to learn, but not just yet, us sticking together is a good idea.
Yeah.
He just likes to dance, but it's just Callum's playstyle. It's always been his playstyle, which is kind of dancing around the map, and I love it. It's very fun. But he's always just done the dance around the map, and he'll be all over the place. So he's like, you're not standing next to the guy. He's not going to stand there in the battle line. He's going to be like, battle line, and jump. Diving at the enemy. Be like, stay in the line! Hold the line!
I feel like there's going to be a lot of times where Bracket's like, no, don't run away, stay close.
There's a dozen paladins here. If we just stand here and hit shit, we can't die.
He's just like, but I want to go out there and kill things.
And maybe get swatted like a bug.
Yeah, admittedly, he goes out there and deals high damage, and then he gets over cocky, and then just gets critted several times, and he's like, I'm almost dead. allowing him to play as a higher level character than you guys because of the stupid roles that he got in the heist campaign for free levels, it gave him too much confidence.
Well, yeah, but he at least gets knocked down again. That's the only good positive. Is if we still keep being like, and now you're unconscious.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. God, I keep having something in my freaking eye. Hold on.
Cool. When
Ugh.
there's something in his eye, I'm gonna whine. So I don't remember when I got the iPhone. It was like around the election. That's my memory, but I don't remember the exact date. So I've been using it for about 2 months now.
Ugh.
And I will say, there's some things that are way better. I think the screen's a little bit better. Shut up. I think some of the settings are better on some things, and then there's shit that's way worse. I don't like that their widgets are very limited, but that's also widgets are brand new. One of the things I hate the most on iPhone is when you are just move shit around. Oh my god. This doesn't consistently work. No. Part of that is oh, there it is. Part of this like editing and moving shit around thing is the first generation of them doing it, so it's a little shit.
They never let that like you move things around before.
They let you like move things around to like a different tray, obviously, but like they just dumped your apps onto your screens essentially and said you can move them around and put them in folders, but they're there. You can't
Yeah.
have gaps and stuff unless you like. There's whole
Gotcha.
apps
Okay.
where their job was to be a fake box to make gaps so people could see their like backgrounds and stuff. There's a whole industry for that.
So fucking stupid.
But the problem is right now, if you move something, everything moves. Not one thing, everything moves. On Android, if I need to move this app, I just move the app, and the apps will move if you force them to. But like, not everything's gonna move. It's so obnoxious in the iPhone, I'm not even gonna show you because it will break my screen and it'll take me an hour to fix it.
And it'll make you pissed off.
It's very obnoxious and it takes a long time to fix. I deleted the Facebook app and broke one of my screens completely. The Facebook app is dog shit on iOS. No reason to have it on iOS. I don't know why people even use. And I think it's because people don't know it's dog shit because they don't realize that Facebook is changing their settings back to all the data tracking being on every time they close the app. I noticed because I noticed one of my other settings was being reverted that I didn't like. I don't like auto-playing videos. It pisses me off. The fact I can't turn it off in every app makes me angry. Yeah. Genuinely. I have it off in every app I can turn it off because it's stupid. If I want to watch the video, I'll watch the video. I get like previews being a thing, but whatever. I turned that off in my Facebook app on my iPhone. And I was like, cool. Cleared out all the apps like I normally do because it's good to clear the memory on your phone. Also, it resets the app if it's having any issues because apps have issues all the time because they're so poorly made currently. Comically bad. So I clicked on it again. I realized, why is everything auto-playing again? I turned that off. Go to the settings. It changed again. And it kept doing it. I was like, it doesn't save the settings. If you reset the app,
it just resets the settings.
Yeah, everything resets. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't need to have you uninstalled. Then it broke my screen. And I was like, no.
Oh my god. They probably plan that whenever you are deleting the Facebook app, it breaks everything.
Yeah, it just
that's
ruins
just a giant
the world.
fuck you from Meta.
Meta, I have Facebook on my Android phone, okay? It works fine on Android. I have minimal complaints.
Which isn't weird because a lot of things on Android are ported over through like the iPhone version.
You're correct. The Meta apps are custom made for each OS. I know this only because there's different timings for some of the stuff in the app. And I noticed this by having two different iPhone and an Android phone. On Android, the looping for Reels is like 3 seconds. There's enough time where you can like watch some of the video and be like, oh, that might be interesting. On iPhone, it's like 1.5 seconds.
Jesus.
So like you're like, I just see a person doing this. And you're like, I don't know what's happening, and I don't click on it.
They're just doing a dance? Like, what?
Yeah, then you click on it and it's like boring, and you're like, oh, it's just because the app is shit and glitchy.
I loved just seeing you on the stream just go.
Well, yeah. So like, I never watch reels on my iPhone because I don't know what they're about because I can't tell. I don't know if that's an advantage or not.
See, I barely even go on the Facebook app anymore, so I don't even freaking have an opinion of Reels. I barely go through that. I basically just use Messenger at this point out of the metaverse, because Instagram and Facebook I barely go on anymore. It really
I go on
is just
Instagram a decent
tough.
amount. And part of that is because I think it's because I don't use TikTok because I have a huge amount of opinion on TikTok, and this is not the time for me to voice my anger towards their existence, or even explain why they're a piece of shit. But I don't use TikTok, so I use Instagram mainly for my that is where my short form video content comes from, and I even don't even care that exists on Instagram. I actually am on Instagram because I'm following like cosplayers and mechanics who are working on cool projects, some brands. Like I use Instagram like the most boomer person on earth. Like it's very funny. Like I literally follow Chevy. Like
My God,
like I don't
what's
see my
Chevrolet doing?
well, a lot of people our age have like stopped posting on social media unless they're like doing it to make them to fill the void of their lives. So people who have like mostly fulfilling lives just aren't posting on Instagram anymore. So all the people I actually want to see their shit, they don't post anymore. So I only see the people who are, not saying those people actually don't have fulfilling lives. They have very fulfilling lives. But they're clearly posting fucking everything on Instagram still, so.
So what's going on in
And
there?
there. You want to show you have this perfect life, but, like.
Yeah, if you post online all the time, you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for everybody else. I will occasionally have a post on there nowadays, but
I
like
post to
I
bitch about shit and yell about things being wrong. That's about it. It's not for me.
mhm.
I'm fighting for someone else usually.
Yeah, it's not gonna affect me. I'm just pissed on your behalf.
Yeah, unless it is something that's pissing me off, but it's probably something that pisses tons of people off, but no one's saying shit about it. Like when they redid the
Yeah.
me accidentally going slightly viral with the yelling about the hot chocolate lid being shit because it didn't seal.
Oh yeah.
They
What,
emailed me to ask me how they could do better.
really?
Yeah, they messaged me on Instagram, asked for my email, and I messaged them, and I'm like, this is the problem. It doesn't seal. They're like, oh, do you want a refund? I'm like, no, I need to fix the problem.
I want you to talk to your engineers and make it better.
No, they don't need to talk to engineers. Just do the old one. It worked fine. And it was just as recyclable.
Yeah.
You just made a worse
Sometimes
product. It's probably just more expensive because it had some metal in it. That's why. They were trying to cut costs. And all they did was create a container that doesn't seal my hot chocolate, so then all my hot chocolate goes bad. People are only making 1 cup of hot chocolate occasionally. Unless you
mhm.
have, like, kids.
Yeah. It's normally winter time a few times. Otherwise, it's just sitting in the cabinet.
Yeah, so it needs to be sealed so it lasts a year or two, or else it will not. It's cocoa powder. It'll get
Sometimes,
moisture in there.
sometimes, sometimes change is not a good thing. A lot of times it is, but sometimes
Yeah, I agree.
it's
Perfect.
it's it's like one of my favorite videos from College Humor where Brendan plays the CEO of Oreos. Oh my God, we made the cookie 100 years ago. Just take the paycheck and go home. Like,
We figured it out. We're making money.
like wait. Oh, here, let's show you this thing for a billboard ad. Wait, billboard ad. Why do we need a billboard ad? Like, it's for like showing people your product. Give me one supermarket in the entire world where half of the cookie aisle is not Oreos. That's the
We
biggest billboard in
already
the world.
won the war.
Why are we making new Oreos? Just everybody loves the Oreos we have.
I do like them experimenting with flavors. That is a fun way for an old brand to keep doing stuff, but you don't need to go crazy.
Yeah, one of the examples in the skit they did was Oreos with Wi-Fi, and he just like looks at it and he's just like,
Why?
like, yeah, but
Yeah, this isn't a full review of these two pieces of crap, but there's things that are better in this, there are things that are better in this. There are things that are dog shit on both of them to a point that I'm actually angry about it. How do people use the Twitter app on iOS? It's glitchy as hell. Here, I'll just try and scroll, and I bet it'll do it. No? Not this time? Okay. Most of the time when you're trying to scroll, it'll randomly open the tray. All of the time. And also, the hitbox, which is what you'd call it in a game, I don't know what it's actually called on the website, for like hitting the like and retweet button, are smaller than the icon is.
so sometimes it'll be like,
No. Remember, on Twitter, if you miss the like button, it opens the post.
oh,
So that means you'll be scrolling, trying to quickly like something, open the post, and then you have to go back.
and then that's something that will also help cause the app to glitch a little bit as well.
Yeah, especially because the iPhone app, because it has all this, like, see how it makes things, like, transparent on the bottom and top? So as you go in and out of, like, a tweet, it does not like it. I'm sure I can change that setting, and it does look nice, but it does not function nice. I actually like the bar style that is on Android, where it just stays one constant shape and just fucking works. I never would have thought I would say in my life, the Android app just works for Twitter. And I think that's because the team has no developers anymore and they're only doing security patches. That's why this app works. It's out of date.
So they're just keeping it the same.
Yeah. They're not developing new shit while on the iPhone. They keep trying to update it.
See, and that's the point right there. Sometimes don't fix what isn't broken.
Yeah, you don't exactly. Do not fix what isn't broken. But that, like, most apps are better on iPhone. That is my description. Apps are better on iPhone. Everything else is worse. The notifications are worse. Google apps are the only apps that are worse. iPhone, they're not very good. There's some apps that you'll try and use them and they'll just glitch out and not work. I was trying to
It'll
share.
just crash.
They just won't do what you're clicking. You're like clicking the button, and it'll just be like, okay, cool, keep hitting the button. Oh, you want something? I was trying to share a picture to Mark real quick, and it took me. I spent 5 minutes on my iPhone trying to hit the different share options. None of them were working. Go on my Android phone. I was done in a minute.
Sometimes shit just works on Android.
Yeah.
Honestly, since I switched to it, I know I don't get as like into everything as you with what phones can do, but just on like a basic consumer's level, this thing was significantly better than iPhone 6. That's what was the last one that I was on, I
Yeah,
believe,
that
at
was
that point.
when iPhone and Android where Android really was just way better. And I will
Yeah.
say right now, the hardware for an iPhone is definitely better and smoother and whatnot than on Android. But it does seem that the only reason Android's bad is because people don't develop the apps, which is stupid. Android is 70% of the market.
Yeah.
Like, they are the market leader because globally people buy Android phones because iPhones are expensive. Americans and people in the EU buy iPhones in Japan. Like,
Hmm.
that's it. If you aren't a NATO affiliated ally, you're not usually buying a fucking iPhone unless you're rich.
Yeah.
You're buying an Android phone.
That's a sign of like oh
Even
my
though
god, what
I am
word am I
a
looking for?
poor American, what classism is that I'm holding two working phones, both attached to cellular?
Are they flagship?
Both these, the Pixel 7 isn't flagship anymore, but it was a flagship. And the iPhone
When you
16
had
is
got
a
it.
flagship. Both these are flagships when they came out. I've only bought flagships or the just slightly below the flagship where it's like, hey, there's a better model, but this is the one we're going to advertise more. Because it's the one we
Yeah.
make more better, we make better profit on. I forgot what the actual word is. The margin, that's what I was looking for. The margin for this one is better.
Hmm. Same. I've tried to stick to flagships as much as possible.
Well, they
I am
last
not
longer.
anymore.
Flagships
I
last
am.
longer usually.
How much of the galaxies do they have? What are they on right now?
I don't fucking know.
I think because I got this is the S23 Ultra. I know they at least did four. I'm not sure if the fifth one came out yet.
I think S25 comes out this year.
It will, or
It probably will, or it's gonna be called something AI, because everything has
oh
fucking
my god.
AI branding. AI is bullshit and stupid. Like, it does have purpose and can have purpose, but what AI is being used for is just destroying the world via running GPUs at 100% all over the globe and demanding as much power as possible to do things that if you paid a person to do, it would cost a little bit more money, but use 100 times less energy.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Just pay a fucking artist.
Yeah, for some
Go on
reason, like
Fiverr and pay an artist.
we are moving forward into that version of the world where people are just like getting rid of human work because oh, it takes too much time. Like we're becoming that dystopian world that people have like talked about, like where rich people just try to own everything.
Yeah, no, we are. We are in a world where some of the richest people in this world are attempting to buy governments because they realize going to war or doing those things or even trying to run for government is a bad idea. But because a bunch of countries don't have very good laws on terms of campaign finance, we can just buy the politicians or find
Just
loopholes to buy them.
give them a little bit of cash and they'll do what we say, but we're not directly involved.
Well, the problem is the richest man on the planet is getting very directly involved, and that's
Oh my
where
god.
the
The,
funniest. Okay, so now we've become political version of Brian and Conlan, but
on.
we need to
You
talk
keep
about it.
going. You keep going. I'm gonna get grab a drink from the
Okay,
garage. I'm still listening.
so we have Elon Musk doing like it'd be doing all the things that everyone has claimed George Soros has done for years. Not that I don't think that George Soros doesn't do things. He's a rich person. All rich people use their money to buy influence. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're that rich, you're going to use your money to buy some influence. But all the shadow government bullshit about George Soros, which from what I can tell is just people who are fucking anti-Semitic and hate Jewish people and want to blame them for everything. Because George Soros is dramatically poorer than Elon Musk. Like, legitimately, the difference between how much money I have as a net worth and how much money George Soros has as a net worth versus how much George Soros to Elon has a much bigger gap on George Soros than George Soros has on me. That is an insane concept.
Yeah, that's fucking that is really honestly weird. Jesus.
So the complaint that George Soros, who is not the richest man on the planet, I don't think he's in the top 10 anymore. He was for a while until all the owners of the big social medias began skyrocketing. He was in the top 10 for a long time because he's very old money. But he's not even,
Hmm.
I don't even know if he's in the top 20 anymore because of all these venture capitalists, which are just made up worth to these companies because many of these companies don't have worth based on fucking anything.
Hmm.
It's based on investment, which is a conceptual worth, which is not how money technically works, but that's a separate argument. I'm not here to fucking play with that game. But Elon Musk is
How
literally
about
buying and attempting now to do what he can to influence the Canadian Conservative Party, which is right now is at prime time if he wants to do it, because the current conservative head of party is a Trump-like figure, where he's like kind of anti-establishment, but he's anti-establishment because actually has gotten in trouble and isn't allowed to have certain security clearances because he's violated law
Jesus?
and violated ethics rules in Canada. Like, I don't have the whole deets because I don't pay attention to Canadian politics that much. I pay attention enough to be like, make sure the country is stable. They're our ally. I care enough to be like, hey, is anything bad happening? Yes? Oh, okay. Let me read a little more.
They're right next door. We need you to be okay.
Yeah, so this Pierre, whatever the fuck his name is not the world's best person, and there has been links to Russian money with him, which unsurprising. Who would have guessed a conservative movement in the world that the Russians are involved with? Never. Because they're also trying to fund the far-right party in Germany, far-right party in Romania, far-right party in Bulgaria, a far-right party in Britain, a far-right party in pretty much every EU country. There's at least one far-right party that is linked to the Kremlin.
How do people like this information is out there?
It's
And it's
public.
just
You
like,
can find it. So the reason why, there's several reasons. One, the average person, me and you aren't the average person, remember that. That's why we have anxiety and depression issues, is because we are way too empathetic and way too using of our brains to be that way. So remember that the average person, all they care is, can they buy their groceries? Can they put fuel in their car? Can they get to work? If those three obligations, and fourth, their bills are paid, if those four obligations are paid, they don't pay attention to jack shit all. And that is your moderate average voter. So that means that moderate average voter will not do the research and spend the time that I have as a member of an anti-disinformation like group. Like I say, I'm part of NAFO, which is the North American Fellows Organization. We fight disinformation on Twitter, Bluesky, and all over. And we also have people who actually work in intelligence who help feed us further intelligence. And we've gotten so good at intelligence that now actual intelligence agencies, like the Ukraine's intelligence agency, works with us. We're working with we're not a real group because there's no actual head of NAFO. It's just a people, just everyday people.
You should get. If only you can get paid for this.
That's the joke, is the CIA pays us. We make lots of jokes every time. It's like there's some kind of CIA campaign to do this. And then we begin making jokes about where we pick up our paychecks at Ware and Langley. Like, we're trolls too. We're also trolls and we're jackasses, and that's why I love NAFO. Is it's both an it's an intelligence campaign and we're jerks because federal governments won't do that.
Is it just millennial trolls grew up?
Actually they're people from all ages, but I'd say it's millennial and up. They're all people who either their family or their family's family or people they know have been affected negatively by the Russian Empire, or in the case of me, a lot of people in the US, is their family served in the military. So the rhetoric of, don't trust the Russians, I've worked with them, don't trust the Russians. Doesn't matter what they say 30 years from now, nothing changes. Don't trust the Russians. And it keeps being true.
Every single Call of Duty game is about that.
This whole way. You would think that we have actual propaganda that's given to conservative people that says don't trust the Russians, and they somehow got the wrong message in the game. And I do not understand that, how so many people play Call of Duty and Battlefield, and the game is don't trust the Russians, and somehow they didn't fucking get it.
Mm-hmm. It's literally like, you are good guy. You are Americans, British, blah, 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 all those. These are bad guys. Nazis and Russians.
Not to, like, the everyday Russian isn't the problem, obviously. But the culture of Russia as a whole is the problem, which is why the problem doesn't go away. Is their society is, ever since the Mongol horde took over what was Moscovny, that is now Russia, people have this concept of power is the only way to be in charge has ruled since then because of the Mongol horde taking over. They essentially, the Moscovny people, the people in charge, the principalities there, so the prince, pretty much paid off the Mongols to say, hey, how about instead of you taking us over, you don't take us over, so you still win, but we just pay you. And everyone, and they went, okay.
Sounds like we all win here.
Yeah, sounds good to us. And since then, Russia's entire system has been based on an older feudal system because they never, when the Mongol horde receded through the rest of Europe when they all fought back, Moscovny never fought back and just kept paying the horde.
When was this?
This was like 1100s to 1400s.
So the Russians have been bad for a very long time.
They were bad before okay. The Russians have technically always been a little bad. Because even their culture was a problem before, as they are a counterculture that evolved from what is the original originalization of Ukrainian and Russian culture. So they do come from one common location, the Kievan Rus. Those are the people who lived in Ukraine back from 400, and technically before then, until the Mongol horde destroyed them in the 1200s. So, I say, Ukraine's been around a very long time. The city of Kiev has existed before the concept of Russia predates the concept of Moskvany, the precursor to Russia, by like 400 years. Ukraine is the concept of Ukraine is a much older concept. But it's because of their shared history that Russia claims that no, that Russian culture is actually the Kievan Rus culture and it transferred to them. Because the Kievan Rus eventually disappeared. Because they fought back against the Mongols and died. Well, the Moscow paid off the Mongols.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason that culture has a break, is because they chose to not be free. So
Money being bought out, basically.
yeah. So the Kievan Rus expand, and eventually a group of them leave to go colonize this new area, which becomes Moskvany. The details are more in depth than that, but essentially this group of princes goes and conquers this area to create another thing. They're for a little while they're part of the same thing, but then they break off and they become their own separate things and trade, and then eventually Moskvany tries to go to war with the Kievan Rus, and then the Poles try and go to war with the Kievan Rus, and they can't fight a two-sided war and they lose. And then the Mongol horde happens around that time too, so they're like, bad time to be be original Ukraine.
Yeah.
So the Russians have always been a problem. They are a counterculture to Ukrainian culture, and that's why they have to win. It's the same concept of counterculture here in the U.S., where they have to win, not because they're right. They don't even think they're right half the time. They just want to win.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that Call of Duty taught an entire generation, and people decided to not pay attention. History is written by the victor. History is filled with liars. That is the first line in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Most popular Call of Duty our entire generation.
Yeah, no.
And people, like, whoever writes the truth, most of the time it's not the full truth. They've just won, so they got to tell us what was right, what happened.
And it is, well, the problem is, the problem with that is they took the wrong message. They took the message that the winners lie. Instead of the winners won, and not every time, but generally righteousness in the long term will win. Because the difference between evil and righteousness is something that's deep within people. It's something that you can't take away from them no matter how hard you try. If people want the right thing, they want freedom. So I usually use freedom as the example. They want freedom. If people want freedom, that's something you can't. That's a will of people you can't really take away. You can try to, and it'll still come back. The second there's a glimmer of hope, that fight is back. Well, evil is defeatable because evil just wants to be evil, even if it's in their soul. I don't know how to describe it, but there's a level, even with how evil we've seen the world be able to be, people will push back someone acting that evil. An evil person only can get so evil until everyone goes, no. Well,
this is a little much.
Yeah, this is a little, I'm out. Because even if they have an endless track, they will begin losing followers. It's pretty much like people are willing to deal with them because they're getting some benefit out of it. They do something too evil. It still can work, like they're tapering and it's going down a little bit. Then they do an act too heinous and it drops. The Holocaust comes out. The German people see what the Holocaust is. They all go, yeah, we're never doing that again. Never.
And I thought that's what the United States did with a lot of their things, like civil rights movements and stuff like that, but...
So the problem is a portion of Americans did take in that lesson properly of the world's imperfect, our stories and histories are imperfect, but the important part is we keep trying to progress even with our errors. We make that's what the modern, not all of the modern progressive movement, but most of it is like I'd say like the moderate centrist to normal progressive movement is history is messy, but as long as we keep building forward and keep getting better, it's okay. We just need to learn from our lessons. And the modern conservative movement seems to be more of a we were never wrong. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh, also now we're going backwards for some reason.
Like, I don't get it.
It will never make sense to
not
us because we have morality, Brian.
Yeah, it's not hard to just say, hey, look in the past, look at the things we did. That was fucked up. But we don't do that now, and let's make sure we don't do that again.
Again, yeah. I'd say it's so easy, but there's a group of people across this, approximately 1/3 of Americans, that do not have that morality compass, and I don't know, every single one of them is different for why they feel those morals are that way. Some of them don't even, weirdly, there's a decent percentage of them that believe in the same morals as us, but seem to not have gotten who's actually fighting for those morals. They've somehow been talked to a different version of who each party is. Because I talk to people, and I'll be like, I don't think you know which party supports what. I've realized that you are a moron.
Do you watch Jordan Klepper on The Daily Show?
I don't watch much of The Daily Show anymore just because, I don't know, during the election it just got tiring.
So, Jordan Klepper, you should look into his stuff. He does exactly what you were basically just saying you do. He goes to Trump rallies to talk to people.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like,
yeah.
He's just talking about it, and then he gets them to admit stupid things, so that he's just like, but like,
what?
Yeah.
I want you to show me how these dots connect. Tries to draw them. Why do none of the dots connect? You just made squiggly lines.
Why are all the dots all over the place?
Yeah. Actually, it goes to this dot. George Soros!
Conlan, they're all trying to do the weave. They're all doing the weave.
What was it? I'm forgetting the actual. It's generally in was it Occam's razor? The concept that usually the simpler, stupider thing is probably the more true thing because something that complicated, humans are too stupid. That is highly unlikely for enough coordination for that to have happened. Generally, the simpler, stupider thing is way more likely.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest way to, not that Occam's razor works for all things, because sometimes you'll read something, and that actually happened, and you'll be like, bullshit. But you have accounts from lots of people separately, and you go, oh wow, that really did happen. So a good example is the Battle off Samar, where a group of small U.S. destroyers and some escort carriers fights half of the Japanese Center Force, the most powerful warships on the planet. And they're just some dinky tin cans and going, well, it's either we try and win, or we die, or we die. Those are our options. So they did the American thing and said, Lee Jenkins! Full throttle, scare the shit out of them by being like, they seem very confident. Why are they sailing at us at speed? They must know something we don't know. I.e. the American way.
Confidence is key. Confidence is key.
That's how America wins wars. Besides the overwhelming technological superiority.
You gotta believe you can win to win.
Yep. You gotta come to play. You have to be ready to play. If you're not ready to play, you're gonna lose.
And see, sorry, that is the American way that even growing up with you, that was your yeah, that's America. Hey, we just go in, we get shit done, we do what's right, and we fight for justice. And it's crazy seeing the evolution of where things have moved, from that mentality.
Yeah, my mentality still remains essentially the same, but I have realized that the version of America that I idolized as a teenager didn't technically exist at any point in time. Existed conceptually for a group of people, but not for everyone. And that's okay. It means Well, I want that version of America to exist for everyone. I want us to be that America, the righteous America. I
Mhm.
know lots of people on both sides are very anti-interventionist. I'm like, I'm sorry. You're right. I don't want intervention in everything, but if something's real bad, like let's say like the Russo-Ukraine war, that's a get involved deal. This evil empire is trying to colonize another sovereign country. A sovereign country who for 500 years has said, get the fuck out and stop bothering us.
You fucking dicks, stay away. This is our land.
And
Our land.
for 500 years, this has been happening. My favorite thing whenever American journalists or an American politician talks like a Ukrainian journalist, and they like bring up talking points that are like recent history, and the Ukrainian journalist goes, "You know, we've been doing this since the 1400s." And the American just goes, because like conceptually as an American, 1776 is when America starts essentially.
Mhm.
The What's happening in Ukraine has been a problem of the Russians attacking the Ukrainians for almost twice as long as we've existed,
About, yeah.
which is wild.
Because Americans don't really care about
We're
global
young. We're the new
politics.
kid on the block still. Even with how old the
Mhm.
U.S. is now, we're still really the new kid on the block as a superpower. Also, we're the first country to ever be this type of superpower. Because other
Mhm.
countries were superpowers, but they weren't real superpowers. We're what's known as a global superpower, which is we have the ability to project power everywhere, and not just in one location, everywhere at once at the same time.
We were a prodigy country.
We just took what the British did and we improved it with more freedom.
Well, the British got a good thing going, but it kind of sucks being ruled by one like
One dick.
general. Yeah. So let's be free
Let's just be. Let's just hire a whole bunch of different dicks to be in charge of stuff. Ignore them actively in our lives. You know?
and completely ignore the warnings of our first leader.
Okay, ignoring warnings of prior leaders is something the U.S. has done for generations. It's the most
Yeah.
generational, consistent thing that I have seen us do. Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex, and he was a military general and very pro-military overall. Because he warned us, he's like, not that we should stop spending, because we need to spend to be better, but we must be careful to not let them take power and control over us. They can't be the ones leading. We, the government, need to lead, and they need to be ready to follow. And now we've reached a point where they're leading, which is kind of horrifying. And like, I am pro-military, but I am scared of how conglomerated the military industrial complex has become. There used to be 3 or 4 dozen businesses that did this, and now it's down to like 6 or 8 because they've all combined. That gets rid of competition. That means you can say whatever you want for the price. Yeah, that jet cost $18 billion. They have no fucking clue.
Mhm. Same thing happened in the healthcare system.
Yeah, it's the
The
exact same problem. People don't know what things cost, so insurance companies go, yeah, it's $10,000. Or pharmaceutical companies do the same thing, where they go, yeah. I know this only costs us what 10 cents to make each pill, $400 a pill. Why? Because I want to. Not that I know it costs 10 cents to manufacture, and there is a cost of R&D and other shit. I know that. I'm not stupid. But not enough cost usually for a 400% markup. I get a markup. You
nothing
need
in
to
this
make
world
money
can
as
do
a
that.
company. You need, like, I believe that pharmaceutical companies who do create innovation do need to make money. But they don't need to fuck us.
Yeah. There's no reason why some aftermarket pill I can get for $12, which is probably still a markup. But when that aftermarket pill gets taken off the market and there's only the name brand now, it is $76.
Yeah. But
How is it
when we
possible
know they're
that
both
somebody can sell
manufactured
it
for
to
the
me
same
for
price.
$12? Yeah. And now you're selling it for
It's
76.
the
Like,
EpiPen thing. The EpiPen, the cost to make an EpiPen is only a couple dollars. It's not very expensive. It is not cheap by any means because it is a pretty complicated device.
Is to get one product that's a couple of dollars, that's pretty expensive in the manufacturing.
And the R&D took a long time, but it's been well paid off at this point. Auto injectors have now become a norm, and they're being used for other medications as well. Because one of Casey's medications is an auto injector. So now that technology is being used across other meds. So that cost development has now been spread out. So that means that really you're only paying for the cost of making the adrenaline, which making artificial adrenaline is not easy. It does cost money. But you've already done the R&D, so we know how to make it. So it doesn't cost $500 for each EpiPen. We know that. So you're just fucking my insurance company. If for some reason my insurance company chooses not to pay for it, you're fucking me. And even though I hate insurance companies, I'm angry that they're willing to pay that money sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes they are negotiating that price down, and the price they're telling you is them lying to you, essentially saying, this would be what the cost would be if we didn't negotiate. Which means it's some fucking made-up cost. One of Casey's old medications for 1 month's supply was $10,000. If we didn't have insurance.
How is
a medication that's required for her to be alive?
$10,000 a month.
Yeah.
12, you better be making six figures.
You better be making close to $750,000 a year, or else you can't afford that without insurance. But we all know those pills didn't cost that much. They actually probably cost like a cent a pill. And like the real cost, had I bought it outright, would have been like $120. Would have been nothing because obviously they still make profit and R&D and stuff. I do believe in not stifling innovation. I don't want things to be. Depending on how the system works, I get if things aren't 100% free. I get that things cost money. We live in a society where I trade this $5 bill, you give me a monster, because I'm not trading my services as a carpenter to you, because that's a very inefficient way to do it. That's why we move to money.
However, if you're paying $5 for a monster, that is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's too much money. But I was just using an easy, fast example.
Oh no, but that's actually a pretty good example of the markup of what some people are doing.
No, if you don't buy these in 15 packs and 12 packs, you're fucking yourself. These now cost $3 at the store by themselves. They usually have some kind of deal. It's like buy one get one half off, or buy two get one free, or stuff like that.
Didn't they used to do like buy two for $2 or something like that, or two for $1?
So
way back when they came out.
Old days, yeah, they have been pushed by local governments and state governments to increase the price some amount. That isn't just them stealing money, because they have to pay fines to state governments because they have too much sugar in them. Like state of New York, they have to pay the state of New York a fine because there's too much sugar in these. So part of the fine is worked into the price.
Isn't it crazy that, like, hey, we think what you're doing is wrong, but if you pay us enough money, it's fine.
Well, that's the point of fines. Like, fines are things where, like, hey, what you're doing isn't right, but, like, isn't illegal necessarily. Or is illegal, but, like, does anyone really care? That's what speeding is. If you can afford tickets, you can speed all you want. Because you go, oh no, $100, woo, I got there faster.
Yeah. Oh no, something's on my record, whatever.
Well, like, if you are paid a certain amount per hour, that $100 speeding ticket might mean literally nothing to you. Because getting from Norwalk to New London as quickly as possible saved you $500.
That's why you see people driving BMWs and Teslas and all this stuff and doing like 100 and something miles per hour down the highway.
They're being paid so much they do not care.
Over.
Yeah, they're making so much money, it doesn't matter unless they lose their license. And usually they're wealthy enough where they can pay a lawyer to just go deal with that in court for them.
So they can keep their license.
Yeah. And, like, is that a little wrong? Yeah, but also that's part of, like, how society works. If that's your lifestyle, it's your lifestyle. But that's why you get a fine.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me a little annoyed, but that's why there are fines. I do believe maybe our fine system should move to more of a like income based, like Norway does. That'd be cool for speeding. The
How does
speeding
that work?
does kill a bunch of people, like per year.
How does their system work?
So their system is income based, because you file taxes every year, and luckily their police
Oh,
department is,
based on how much money you make.
yeah, your
That's
income
what your
is,
ticket is.
yeah. So say you're having a bad year and you inadvertently get a speeding ticket, it's gonna be a couple dollars because there's like, we don't want to fucking bankrupt you. You need to go to work.
Yeah, if we take all your money so you can't get to work, you're just harming our like how our society is just moving
We now have to just pay for your
steadily.
unemployment. We lose money.
Yeah, that's actually pretty true.
But the person with the BMW driving 120 kilometers an hour in a 70 kilometers an hour zone, yeah, guess what? He makes, I don't know what the conversion for their money system to ours is off the top of my
Seven
head.
hundred and fifty thousand
$1,000,
euros or
yeah, per
something.
year. If you're making that, that's over $1,000,000 a year, by the way, in U.S. But
Okay.
say you're making that 750, then your fine's gonna be $5,000. I don't know the actual percentage, but it'll be higher. Like it'll be like, hey, here's a $5,000 bill, and then you're like, oh, that's more than my mortgage. My wife's gonna be pissed.
Yep.
Because that's the thing is, you begin making it so that they go, oh,
You gotta make it so the punches hurt a little bit.
yeah.
Like it's not just a pinch. It's a ooh
It's a,
that's gonna
oh,
hurt a
okay,
little
sorry,
bit.
sorry, might be.
It's actually funny that it's basically like a non-physical form of punishment. Like
Well,
it's
that's why it was funny when DUI punishments were essentially saying, no, 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 no. Because it used to just be like $100 fine. And you could have
it's like,
unlimited
oh well,
DUIs. So if you make a decent amount of money and you're a fucking alcoholic, it doesn't matter to you.
because you can just keep on doing it, like
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. Who cares?
and then
You can
and then
afford to total
eventually,
your car. You can afford to pay
yeah,
off if you're say you make like $8 million a year. Let's say this is a person who's running a bigger business that's bigger construction business because those bring in lots of money when they're doing well. So you're the owner of this business and you drive your Bentley way too fast. Oh no, you crashed the Bentley. Whatever. I'll go buy a Beamer tomorrow and
mhm.
I'll pay off the families and before I'll go to a settlement. Have my lawyer do a settlement with those families for $100,000 each. That's more money than they'll ever think about. And people, that happens in the U.S. Still to this day. But now they lose their license because they went, doesn't matter who you are, you can't pay off this part of the system. One, okay, cool, big fine, potential jail time if you hurt people. Two, and I know a construction, like I don't know his actual position or job title, a person we've worked with who can't drive anymore because he did do that. Paid off families, but it didn't matter because the 3 DUIs and you're out. He went to jail for it.
Wow. See, that's the part of the system you need. You can't have money be able to buy yourself out of being in trouble for something.
Yeah. Well, admittedly, there's like the tier system is pretty simple that we live in right now, which is if you make under $100 million a year, you live in the justice system me and you live in. Because even those people who make under $100 million a year, they live in the same justice system as we do. If they
100,000?
murder someone, 100 million.
Oh, wow.
So it's the concept that you can no longer pay off politicians. So if you can start paying off parties and paying parties to change laws, that's when you. So as you're approaching nearing the $1 billion mark, so past the $100 million is usually the number I use. I don't know if there's probably an actual line you could draw based on convictions and shit. I don't have that data off the top of my head, and I'm not going to compile that data. I don't want to. But based on what I've seen people get arrested for, I've seen a celebrity with $100 million go to jail before for crimes. Their sentences are usually a little lenient, but they do go to jail
Mhm.
if they do something genuinely illegal. So, like, but once you get past that, you begin paying state government officials to say, actually, I believe he needs leniency because his family now just donated $10 million to my campaign for re-election, so he's getting pardoned in the state. Like, that's when shit like that begins happening. Is when we begin making
Yeah.
political candidates pawns in your life.
Didn't they make something like that okay if it's called gifting or something?
Yes. So it's never been illegal for, say, a Supreme Court justice or a senator or the president isn't really supposed to take gifts. There's no laws against it, but essentially you're such a public figure, it looks very, very, very bad. Unless the gift is something ceremonial. Which is why you see countries give very ceremonial gifts to presidents.
Yeah.
Here's this beautifully carved desk for the White House. Here's this painting from the Louvre. Stuff like that. It's stuff that is worthless. It's priceless, but also has no intrinsic cost value that you could sell it for. It's only worth something because the president has been gifted it. And that's why it's going to stay in the White House, because as soon as it leaves the White House, it is a worthless item.
Worthless at that point, yeah.
Yeah. But for senators, you're allowed to take trips, be gifted trips, but you have to report them. Legally, you're required
that way people know about them.
Yeah, because you're allowed to be gifted a trip by a friend. If you have an actual friend who's a venture capitalist, who you've been friends since college, who says, hey, do you want to go on my yacht and go to, like, Barbados, you're not going to say no.
And the government should be able to say, yeah, no, don't do that.
You can't spend time with your friend. You have to say, you can spend time with your friend, but you have to tell us you did that, and you have to disclose what things, if he gave you anything complimentary and stuff. So we can see, is your friend paying you off?
Monitor this to make sure, nothing shady's going on here.
Yeah. I say, for your average representative and senator, usually it's nothing shady. It's literally just they happen to have rich friends. It's almost like they're a politician. They slowly rose the ladder and met all these other semi-elites or state-level elites or local-level elites and became friends with them because they're in the same circles seeing each other all the time. They're seeing each other at galas. They're seeing each other at fundraising events. They're seeing each other at political events. So they became friends. It's very normal.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but when you have a billionaire bringing a Supreme Court justice and then him not reporting it, that's when we have issues. And then
that starts looking a little bit bad.
And more worse, that Supreme Court justice opinions changed from what he's said in the past. And it is adjusted, theoretically, how he's ruled on certain rulings. That's when we begin having problems. And even bigger problems.
You can tell, you can't physically prove, but you can tell that, there was probably influence in that purchase.
Yeah, and that's
or in that shady transaction.
That's it. I actually personally do not have a problem if Elon Musk said to all the Supreme Court justices in our country, do you want to go on my fucking yacht and go party? It's wrong, but legally I have no problem with that as long as they all say, yeah, no, we just want to go party because, like, it's a billionaire who wants to go party. Like, yeah. You only live once. We only get one of these lives, so let's have some amount of good time with it, and everyone deserves to have a good time in their life. Like, that's a belief I will always stand by, which is why I get angry when people are like, people should suffer. I'm like, why? We only get one of these. Even if heaven and hell are real, God would still want us to have a good life. The point of the afterlife is to reflect on our lives. So if you had a shitty life the whole time, your afterlife is reflecting on fucking the worst shit.
But instead, you can have a good time, do right by other people, and just live a good afterlife.
Yeah. You can win the life and the afterlife. It's very possible. It's actually quite easy.
And guess what? It's a good time to have fun and do nice things.
It makes you happier. That's the struggle me and Brian have, is we like having a good time and nice things, but we also are bad at time management and are disabled.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be alive, Brian. How dare we be disabled?
And things cost money, and we're lazy.
Well, we also live during a pretty shitty time in capitalism's history, where they're now using capitalism, because capitalism was a metric to bring the poor to become wealthier. And in theory, it still is that mechanism. But if the people in charge of the levers that keep capitalism in check, because you have to keep capitalism in check, unkept capitalism will become destructive because profits over people becomes the main driver. But if
Yeah.
you work your levers properly, you can be like, you can force the metrics to change. And the US has done that for a very long time. That's how we've become such a fucking wealthy country. It's
Hmm.
capitalism. Didn't happen for any other reason. We invested, but the key is but the government forced companies to invest back in the people, which then continued the capitalistic cycle of those people worked harder, which made those companies more money, which they invested more in the people, and that's how capitalism is supposed to work. Is
What happened to bonuses? Come on, companies.
But our quarterly profits, then our December
Bonuses.
quarterly profits will be too low.
Bonuses. Bonuses.
No, I agree.
We do all your hard work for you.
Was it Christmas Vacation that has
Yes.
he
And
doesn't get his bonus,
I got a
he
1 year
loses,
membership to the Jelly of the Month Club.
and he
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
and then
And then he
he's
just flips out. And no good.
and that was
Never
in the
making
80s.
Yes.
Like
Like, it was pointed out there.
so part of the problem is, as stated, now that bigger, richer people have realized that they can sway government officials and even our Supreme Court members. We now have had the system that the levers used to fight for the people, and it's not always been perfect. I can never claim that it has been, but the levers usually tried at least a little bit to fight for the people. The levers are now just going business, 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 which doesn't work. If you don't invest in the people just die and go away, and then you have nothing.
It's
The system will eventually reset itself, but the process, which we're living through right now, isn't fun. And it's better to just invest in the people in the long term. That's how you see the Nordic countries so happy, is though they are fully, because people are like, oh, they're socialist countries. What are you talking about? Sweden's like hyper capitalistic. They just have a government that keeps checks and balances on their businesses, because they're like, nah, if you don't invest in the people, we'll just privatize you. We'll just get rid of you and turn you part of the public, thing. Like all those countries are very capitalistic. Like Norway, Sweden, and Finland, they're very capitalistic. It's just their government actually fights back against shitty consumer crap.
Mhm.
So that way it forces companies to have to keep investing in the people, as well as they've taken certain things away from companies as they're things that control people with. That's why universal healthcare is, in theory, a good idea, is it allows people to switch jobs without worrying about losing healthcare. So it allows you to go to the best position for you instead of being stuck in a position you might not necessarily like. Because you're like, oh no, well, this stinks. I don't like it here at A. Well, C has a position that looks way better and more for me, and I talked to a guy who works there, and it's great there. I'll go to C. And that's okay.
Mhm.
That stifling of competition is very good. People being stuck in jobs is another reason why we are so fucked up right now, is people don't leave jobs. So they'll stay in their low-paying jobs, so then businesses think it's okay to pay those people. And I don't blame the people for staying in those jobs. They need their healthcare. They need their shit. The problem is with the system, not with the people. But the problem has been made worse because of that. We've
Yeah.
been very deep political shit, man.
And that's actually interesting that you bring that up, is because at my job, I've realized I'm not paid enough for the worth that I have, and I am training to be a manager. So if everything goes well and I become a manager and I get more money, awesome. But if I don't have more money by a certain date, I've set a deadline, then I am going to leave my company, because I could be making way more money somewhere else, having less morals because I have to sell kind of stuff at different places. But I need to think about my life having money, and if the company's not going to invest more in me other than a free pen that says "way to go" every once in a
Yeah,
while, then like
that
no.
that is one of the things that I've never understood, is watching so many medium to large size businesses who have the money to do it. And to my understanding, depending on, I don't know every state, depending on state and federal law, I'm very sure you're allowed to write off some of those bonuses. as long as you write them off as profit windfalls. So you say, oh, we made lots of profit, so now we gave it to our people, because the government used to encourage businesses to do that. And I know some
Yeah.
businesses still do it. Like the big automakers, I know they tend to do it a little bit more. I know some of those bigger, older companies still do it because it's just tradition. But lots of modern new venture, I think it's part of this modern new company type, the venture capitalist company, which technically your job is from one of that beginning era of, even though it's a different industry than the rest of the venture capitalist things. It is a venture capitalist growth of, hey, let's take this thing, but make it nationwide. Like,
Yeah.
and those types of businesses, because they never had, when they started, they didn't have bonuses because they had no fucking money. They
Yeah.
never implemented a bonus policy as they went on because they went, we don't need that. No one's complained yet. Everyone's complaining. No one's complained yet.
If one thing that's ridiculous, my company, we do like gifts and stuff like that. Like we just had a holiday like raffle prize giveaway, but if you win one of the prizes, you have to pay the taxes on it. Like they take that out of your paycheck.
I would actually go to a lawyer.
Like there's
I would sue
we
them
give
over that.
we give 50 we like a 55 no 55-inch and a 65-inch television away, and the people who win it, they get the TV, but they have to pay like $60 in taxes or something out of their paycheck for it.
I would sue the. I don't care how much it cost me.
Mm.
That's one of those things where
And
I'm like, I need to make a change.
they say they legally need to do that. They cannot,
No,
like,
why they legally have to do it?
why?
It's because of the way they're claiming it on their taxes to try and use it as a tax write-off. It's because of however they're trying to write it off requires them to make you pay that. I don't know exactly. It's probably some legal wording that turns it from a gift into something else. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Is they're taking something, turning it from a gift, because a gift has no taxes associated to it, but can't be written off usually, depending on how it's written, that state's laws and other rules like that. That's why the libertarian movement always goes for, you don't give people tips, you give them personal gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually is technically a true thing. If you want a waitress to keep the $100 and not put it on her taxes, you have to write this as a personal gift to blah blah blah's name. But you need her full name.
So fucking stupid.
Well, it's because you have to, in a legal form, it just has to be written down, say, this is this. It's the same concept of what we were talking about before with the politicians, where a gift, the difference between gift and bribe is a blurry little zone, and it's still blurry all the way up to like $18 billion. Doesn't matter if it's $50 or $18 billion. It's blurry.
Gift or bribe.
Yeah.
So it's crazy then. So they could just
know
claim
what?
them
That
as
would be a
gifts, and then
fun
the
joke
company
game
wouldn't have
show.
to do that.
That would be a fun joke game show to do on my channel one day, which is we do
Gift
gift
or
or bribe. We just research a whole bunch of like gifts / bribes that have been given out to both politicians, regular people, all kinds of shit across the whole like globe, and go, was it a gift or was it a bribe? And then we use context afterwards.
That would be a funny segment. I think that could get pretty popular.
It would be very hard to write though. That would take hours of research.
Yeah, the reward for the effort would not be worth the effort.
If I had a team, that would be worth it.
Yeah.
If I had some guy whose job it is to do my writing, that'd be different.
Conlan, you got to get your company running. Give all your friends positions. Let's make some money.
Oh, because of the current administration and my like no longer belief in any of systems, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna figure out how to burn this system and just live through it in the next fucking 4 years.
So what's the goal? In 4 years, then you'll make Ace Man?
Well, no, the goal is by the 4th year, in theory, we'll be stable. So that way, hopefully, we move into a more positive economic outlook. Essentially, my goal is, I know, like, that because there will be a recession, that social media being paid in social media will only go up because advertising CPMs will increase and stuff like that. So if we can take advantage of people being stuck at home because that's what happened and how the social media craze began was the recession in 2008 caused people who began to do YouTube full time because they were unemployed. And then they began asking YouTube, how can we get paid? YouTube introduced ads. YouTube eventually then began paying creators by the
Mhm.
time we were in high school and the recession began to wane off. And then every time there's been an economic crisis, a few more guys have come in to try and do it. So if we begin hard just before what will be an economic crisis, 2025 will probably be very stable because many of the laws written in 2024 and signed in 2024 will continue out into 2025. And also the first 6 months of every presidency is lunacy, no matter who's president, because you have to get your cabinet in place. You have to do all your shit. It takes time, and that's 6 months of stability. Besides the news, we're just gonna fucking use it for our advantage.
Yeah,
This is the
they need
time to
time to get synergy.
to get ourselves together. So 2025 is the year of us doing this way more. I if we didn't do this stream, I was gonna do a stream later in the day, anyways. I still might do a stream later in the day. Depends how my voice is feeling.
I'll be able to do more DMs plays, it's just not at convenient times. So hopefully they do well on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's it. You throw it up onto YouTube, and maybe it does okay. Then we just keep on trucking. The system just wants content. It's not even very caring in the quality of the content.
It just needs something that'll get people watching.
It just needs people to stay on. So if you're doing, say, a story-based game or talking about, like, we debated politics for a bit, people will listen to that usually. And that's something that's, like, clippable. One of the things I need to work on is from our DisasterCast, is every once in a while, I need to edit and clip in one of our big topic talks and post it on our, like, YouTube.
Kind of like how I've been trying every once in a while I'm rewatching sessions
Yeah, to
to
do
clip
TikToks.
funny moments of the sessions and stuff.
Yeah. We need to just keep
Can,
doing
can I
that.
do that on Bluesky? Does Bluesky have like
Bluesky has a very short video time right now, but they're working on it. It's because they have server infrastructure issues.
because I feel like that's one thing we could work better on since Bluesky is an up and coming one. If we like push hard on Bluesky, we could get in as like an early adapter kind of thing.
We need to. That's why I've been doing so. My following on Bluesky is higher than my following on Twitter.
You should
I
try to
had
plug mine every
Bluesky for
once in a
less than
while.
6 months.
Try to plug mine a little bit every once in a while so I can get
You
more.
were. It was come join Brian Creevy and I for a Christmas morning DisasterCast. I made sure I plugged you.
And
Don't
you
worry.
and you put it you put an image of rain because hey.
Boobies. I'm not stupid.
Speaking of going away from politics a little bit for a second, speaking of artwork, I was watching Heist Session 5, Gone like a Wind Whisper or Gone with a Wind Whisper, where you guys go after that Fafine Ulian Miss lady. And in the beginning of that session, Andrew, we revealed the image for my DM artwork from London, and Andrew said, "I would love to 3D model Oliver one day." And I was like, "Yeah, man, one day." And I just messaged him, and he says he wants to kind of like start back up in 2025 of doing more. So you and I think we need to push Andrew a little bit to go back more into like 3D modeling and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of his schooling was
He
into was
went to school for game design, so
design.
he can do that stuff. So if we want to push more in 2025, I think that's one thing we need to do with Andrew too, get him more involved
Know
with
what's sick
doing
that
3D
we can
modeling.
do? Know what's sick
What?
that we can do? Uh,
What?
though we have to definitely make sure we get permission from London if we're using the likenesses of the designs he made for us. But I'm sure he will say yes, because he already said yes for me using Rain as much as I want. So I paid him, you know.
Yeah.
And I also credit him as much as I can.
XX Pulp.
Yep, XX Pulp. I don't know if he's on Bluesky or not yet. I haven't checked.
We should get him on there.
Yeah, he should. Right now, Art is doing well on Bluesky because Bluesky is such a frontier that if you get in early, you can make yourself a decent. Like I stated, I have. Let me go to my account. I have over 2K followers. I'm about
Damn.
to. I'm about to hit 2.1.
Damn.
Literally one more follower, 2.1, which will happen today.
What's your Blue Sky?
Ace
Is it Ace
Man.
Man?
Ace. Yeah, it's the same thing. Eventually, we will be getting. I will reveal it right now. Me and Chris are working on it. We will be getting our own Bluesky dot whatever dot social. We just have to figure out what the requirements are because we have a server that can do it. We just have to make sure that there isn't data requirements for like, hey, if we have to store all of our photos or shit like that, because then we have to make sure we have allocated space for it. But it'll be we haven't decided what we'll probably do one or two of them for ourselves. We'll probably do dot disaster or dot Nat Disaster for the DisasterCast.
Haven't you guys wanted to do this for years with like Minecraft servers and stuff
We've
like
had
that?
Minecraft servers. We've used them in the past. The reason we stopped doing the Minecraft servers, is because it just wasn't very. We never were able to get a very profitable model, and the software we used to use for it did a major update and borked one of our machines,
Ooh.
and we lost a bunch of data, and that was kind of just like, this is restarting a whole bunch of like we're like was this like we hadn't gone to scale yet, we were just doing friends, and we lost a couple of worlds we were able to back up, but some of them we just weren't able to, and we were
Yeah.
just like, yeah, unfortunately I think this is just the time where it takes for us to keep doing updates, and the fact that things randomly break, it stopped being worth our time. And then I think some of those friends eventually taught themselves how to run their own servers. Like I know Jahi taught himself how to do his own server. Tree Dungus,
Yeah.
go hang out with
I
him.
Tree Dungus, man, I really
He's
wish.
been streaming too.
Side note, we should, if he gets up in the morning early, we should stream with him sometime
We
because I
absolutely
think it'd
should.
be dope to have him. And also, we planned to do a Pokemon Alpha Sapphire randomizer, us three, and just see who can get through it the fastest. And it never took off, so that's why I started my DM plays. But it'd be cool to do like more competition kind of based things.
Oh yeah, the goal this year, and I know we won't hit it perfectly, but we're gonna keep trying. We're gonna just throw shit at the wall. That's the only other reason I really got an iPhone is the iPhone camera is better. That's one thing I'll give the iPhone. It is a really good camera and camera processing. I'm pretty impressed. There's other issues I have with the iPhone, but like that's very good.
Hmm.
Like I genuinely, so I'm gonna use this for filming a lot more, and the mic's pretty good too.
I plan to hopefully, because the price went down, it got a lot cheaper. Fix the camera on my phone because I still have the
Yeah, I
crap.
know. You send me pictures,
Hey, as
and
long as I do a 0.6 zoom or 3 times zoom, everything's good still.
well, it's because it's just the one lens that's broken. What time is Sam
See,
waking up?
probably any minute now, but
Yeah, I'm just
I
what.
wake her up typically.
Okay, I was wondering more the what time we gonna finish off.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's 9 o'clock now. We've done this for about 2 hours, which is one of the longer disaster casts we've had in a while.
Yeah,
So it
we've
was
only been
good.
able to do an hour. We've been scheduled.
And we just lost our second viewer. I think that was Amelia underscore cozy who was commenting a couple of times, but I can't tell if she was a bot. She did say she's not a bot, but bots have learned to say that.
Yeah, ChatGPT's gotten better, but also like it could just be a person who's just trying to plug their stuff and seeing who's streaming this morning, which is totally
True.
fine. You gotta hustle.
Thanks, Amelia underscore cozy.
Yeah, yeah. I respect the hustle and the grind.
We're doing this. We're gonna try to do the same.
Yeah, the only difference
But
is we're not making skins. We're just doing this. But oh, let me finish our thought about Andrew, and then we can finish off because we never finished
yeah,
the thought. We got distracted to talking about getting people on Bluesky. It all works up here.
he
Okay.
remembers.
Yes. So what's cool we can do is we can, if he does 3D models of everyone, is we can get VTubers if we get them rigged up, and then we can do like a VTuber streams and shit like that
Oh
as our
my god.
characters. We can like
Oh my
jump in as
god.
our characters. It'd be funny as hell.
I mean, yeah, that is out there, so he could do that.
We also need to this year, if we, depending on how financials are for me and you, because they could be horrible or really good. Every year it's completely random, and the past year it was bad. It wasn't. I made less money because of shit that happened to me. I didn't necessarily like have more expenses.
Yeah.
So I like, I've it's been tight this year. Also, it's the year after my wedding, so like I am getting the repercussions of that spending. And also, I had 2
Yeah,
vacations this year. I've never gone on 2 vacations in a year in my entire life.
yeah,
And they were both
we
like
are.
fly vacations, so they're quite expensive, and that killed me financially too.
Yeah,
This year I'm
same.
staying home. But if he gets VTuber out things, we need to get art for Andy, and we'll try and work on the rest of the cast as well. We need
Yeah.
Oliver too.
I want him to do Oliver because then we can give that model to London, so London can do a his version of that character of Oliver.
Oh, you mean do you want Andrew to do Oliver, or do you want?
Because I want Andrew to do Oliver
Okay, I got you. Got you.
so he can put because he said he wanted to do it and he can give his vision of what
Got you.
Oliver looks like,
And then we can do it
and then
in that art style.
that
Got you.
way, yeah, we could just show London and he can do his version based off of that instead of Andrew describing it to London at that point. That way,
Yeah.
London can just see, okay, this is your vision. Let me make it in my style.
Yeah, because if we imagine hiring like a female voice actress to just be Rain,
Oh my God.
we would make bank, dude. We also would pay for the animation of, if you don't do that, you're losing money.
Yeah, it's a sad
It's
truth, but
wrong.
yes.
But Rain would appreciate it. Rain's a person who, if she was in the real world, she would have an OnlyFans. Why? And she'd have the laziest OnlyFans, too. She'd be the person who'd be like, this outfit's cute. Okay.
Dude, freaking what was it, 3 years ago, Sam's brother for Christmas Eve put one of my stocking stuffers as a double shot glass with titties. You've seen it before. It's
Yeah,
in our
yeah.
kitchen. This Christmas, he got me a darker skinned version of that. However, they've upgraded it where now instead of the boobs are part of the glass, they have springs on them and they're an extra extension so you can go boing and they can move around.
I hope for the forever. Every 2 years, Tyler buys you a shot glass of boobs on it, because that would be the funniest gag to continue forever. That's one of those things where, like, you have kids, and your kid's like, "What are those? Oh, those are Tyler's gifts for me. Don't worry about it."
Your
Wait,
your uncle gets me those for Christmas.
and the kid's just like, "What?" Like, in a perverted way, or because this is funny? I don't know.
It's your Uncle Ty.
It's Ty. We can't fix him.
Well, titties is a great way to end our disaster cast.
Yes, everyone. Thank you
Best
for
way to
those who
start, best way
watched.
to
Thank you
end.
for those who might watch on YouTube when this goes live sometime next month.
Honestly, I've been doing better at it, so I have a couple of DM plays to put out, and I'm going to try to in next week, but hopefully in either next week or the first week of the New Year's, I'll have them out. I am getting better at getting content back onto YouTube.
Yeah,
So,
that's one of the biggest things.
and
YouTube
I
loves
will plug it.
consistency.
I will plug it on Bluesky.
Yeah, so that's we're gonna end this, and me and Brian might talk for a minute or two. So good night. Good morning. Merry
Good morning.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah,
Happy Hanukkah,
and Happy
happy
Kwanzaa Eve.
Kwanzaa Eve.
I hope you all, if you aren't spending time with family,
And
I hope you
wait,
have a good time with who you're with.
happy hump day.
Yeah, it is Wednesday, and it feels like one. See you guys.